today's task. Fix this odd strimmer. As you can see, it's looking in a bit of a sorry state. So we'll see what we can do with it. But first, look at bloody mess. Gonna have to do something about this before we do anything. 3, 2, 1. Ah, all done. Nice and tidy. Well, sort of. Now let's have a look at this odd bird. Right. We'll start. That don't look too healthy, does it? So first thing we're going to do is have a look at this pull cord. Right, so now we've got this off, I'll have a little look inside. All I've done, I put a little bit of duct tape on this wire here, so it's on the right port when I put it back in. So we'll take these off, take that out of there like that. Sorry, I will get a tripod soon. New to all this videoing stuff. So now we've got this off, this is the first problem. Right, that's the first problem. Before we do anything, we need to fix this. So I'll just get the light around here so you can see better, and we'll have a closer look. Right, just took the screw out. I haven't had a look yet. I don't know if the spring's snapped or it's just come off, but we'll have a look now. Watch it, because sometimes it pops out and it's quite dangerous. Oh, the spring's come off that little, see the little notch there? The spring's come off the inside there, sorry, it's just focused. So, what we can do, sorry, I need a tripod or a bipod. Pull that back through here, and roll it back on. Make sure you put it on the right way. Obviously, if you put it on the other way, the spring's not going to work because it's not going to pull it in. And you're pushing it against it. Get this in just quickly, let's have a look. Right, I'll come back in 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Right, so before I'll tell you how to put it back on there without taking the spring out, because that's an absolute nightmare. See how rusty the spring is. Wouldn't surprise me if it snap any time. So what we're going to do, it'd be better with WD-40 at the minute, you know, to go in all nooks and crannies, but at the minute I don't have any, so good old grease is going to have to do. And spread it all inside of that, spread it all the way around. Get nice and loose. And then, after we've done this, I'll come back in a minute. After we've done that, we'll put this, see the little bent bit there, that needs to be bent in a little bit more if I can get my fingers in, just to close. See how it's bent out? It needs to be tight, and that sits in that bit there. So when you put it on, that catches in there, and then when you pull it, obviously it retracts and contracts. So I need to get some pliers in there, bend that so it's a little bit tighter, so it'll just fit in there without it flipping off. I'll come back in a minute. Right, so now we've got it all greased up. See the little hook on in there? We have to get the hook on this little bit, this little catch here. Don't matter if you've got a bit of loose string, I'll show you a trick in a minute. So if we do this, get that lined up with that hook and just pop it down there. It should be about right. Right, see it's got some pull back, so that means it's on the hook. So we know it's on the hook now, so we'll get the screw and the washer back in if I can find the washer somewhere. There's a screw. And there's a washer. We'll get that in there. Right, now we've got it in. when the spring's attached, you think, oh no, I've got all this loose string, what am I going to do with that? Aha! Easy. Well, it would be easy if I had a bipod. Pull the string back through the hole, and then push it around the reel yourself, and that should take all the slack string up, and it'll make the spring on the inside even tighter. So I'll just do. So now we've got it back in. See, nice and tight again. If you pull it, goes straight back in. But if you have got a little bit of slack and you want the string to be a little bit more taut, all you have to do, pull it out a bit, get your pliers down there, pull the string out and wrap it around the reel one more time, and then that way your spring will be more, it'll have more tension on it, so I'll pull in. But at the minute that's fine, I'm happy with that. So we'll put it back on. Right, we've hit a little problem. The HT leads come off, so to get it back on, I'm going to take it off. But that'll mean setting it back up again. Setting the coil from the flywheel, it'll mean setting it back up again. So, well, you're lucky in one way, you'll learn how to set the distance between the flywheel and the coil up. So now we've got the coil off, all you have to do, there's a little tiny screw in there, screw it clockwise, the HT lead, screw it on clockwise, and there you go, that's the HT lead back on the coil. So to put it back on, if it was that way, then we needed 2 bolts. Put the bolts in, then washers behind, so the washers sit there, back in the. Right, just before we put the coil back on, I've just looked at these. Oh no, you can't see because the shop. There you go. These are the magnets. The magnets on the flywheel, they spin past the coil, and that's what creates the spark. The coil makes a bigger spark, puts it through the HT lead and puts it into, puts it in the spark plug. But at the minute you can see it's all rusty on the magnets that pass it through. So all we're going to do here, get a bit of wet and dry paper, clean all these up, and then the parts where go over the magnets, we're going to give these a little clean as well, just to make a better spark. So now we've got the coil back on. To set it up, this will work well. This is on a strimmer obviously, but it'll work on mini motors, well, any bikes, lawn mowers, anything with a coil and the flywheel. So all you do, what I'm using here, you can use a card. Do you know, cards you get off taxis and stuff like that that hand out? You can use one of them, but obviously the smaller the better really. So all I've done is put mine's a little playing card, a kid's playing card. So I've put the card in, turn it around, got the ports lined up with a magnet, then all we do, tighten it up, tighten the coil up. Obviously I've cleaned the ports on both of them. And give it a good nip. And we can turn that still. Obviously the card comes out, and that's as close as, the closer the better, so obviously that's as close as you can get really. So that should be, we'll get the wires back on it, we'll put a new HT lead on it because it looks like rats or mice or something have chewed through that, and we shall see if she fires up. And was just going to say, These Silverline, they're only a tenner off eBay. Years ago, was it a lifetime guarantee and all if you get them? Tenner. Bargain. Back together now. Next step. Obviously that was the first problem we seen, so we've sorted that. Next step, we don't even know if it runs yet, so we have to take the spark plug out. Put in the H2 lead. Obviously the one that was on it was knackered, so right, so now checking for a spark. Obviously when you take the spark plug out, it needs to be touching some metal to make a connection to if it's going to spark. So turn the light out now and we shall see if we have a spark. Oh, there we go. So we've got a decent spark there. Right, next day, I had enough of it yesterday, but it's all back together. We're going to see if it'll run today. Prime it up. When you're priming it, you're just sucking all petrol out and sucking air out at carb and filling carb up with petrol. So once we've got it nearly primed, this one hasn't run for a while, so what I like to do, well, you don't have to do it, I do it, it's just easier. Got a bit of petrol in here, we're two-stroke in it. Put a bit of petrol down the head. And then you'll know if it's going to fire straight away. Where'd I put that spark plug? There it is. I had to look for another HT cap, but I couldn't find one, so I'm just going to have to leave it like that for now. Right, will she work? Got a special guest Craig here today, haven't we, Craig? Got an extra pair of hands. It was a bit dodgy filming yesterday. Right, we turned on. Can we pull it off, see if she likes it? Ooh, come on. Hey, Monstrum! Choke off. No, let's still give it a little bit of choke. Yeah, hey! Look at that. Got Monstrum flat, mate. Sweating power. So, we're up and running. All we need now is an HT cap, a bit of wire, and we're ready to go. Champion.